Brian.
Hello, Michelle. How are
How
we, lovely?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, not too bad. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the Authentic Human Podcast.
I love it.
So you're in, I don't know anything about you because
Okay.
that's always better for me.
Okay.
Um, so I know that you're in Australia just because we had to juggle some times to find the
Mhm.
right time for both of us. And I think Ashley said you were in the UK and you have relocated. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah, I used to live in the UK and I moved to Australia about 6 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you've been there for a while then.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't call me an Australian just yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I love that. So today is pretty much a choose your own adventure, and you can go any which way. If you want to ask me specific questions, and we can go into the universe and see whomever has the what I personally love to go direct to the source, wherever whoever the answer whatever universal being happens to have the exact answer. So I typically work that way. Or we can just see what your soul has to share with you. We could start there. We can mix it all up. I'm open to anything and everything.
Okay, love to hear that. Let's do mix it all up. I'd like to Um, let's see what comes through. I like
Okay,
that. And then I've got maybe a couple of questions I wouldn't mind asking. See what comes through. Some
awesome.
guidance there.
Awesome. Sounds so good. Um,
Uh,
okay, so I'm just gonna feel into you and just sort of let's do it. I Yeah, I'm just getting over COVID, so it's a really interesting dynamic when you're in. It's interesting going into the energy in this different world, and this is my fourth time having it, so it's not foreign, but it's always interesting when something else is in your body and you're doing your usual thing, right? So, anyways, so you. Yeah, okay, so you've led an interesting life. And what they're showing me is the last 4 years in particular, um, you've branched out. Eh, you've branched out and you're doing things you never thought you'd be doing. Um, but you're also doing them in ways and with people you never thought you'd be doing. So it's really interesting. They're showing me, um, really the last 6 years have been about growth, but the last four in particular, you kind of went like growth on rocket fuel, if you will. It was like, oh, I'm just gonna try this and I'm gonna do this. But you had more of a, I keep hearing the word kamikaze in the sense of all in. You were like more kamikaze, I'm all in, I'm all in. And it didn't really matter what it is you were doing. Yes, sometimes spiritual, sometimes not spiritual. It was more of this approach of whomever I'm with, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to be all in because you had a moment. They're showing me 7 or 8 years ago where I'm getting goosebumps. You had a moment where you had firsthand experience of like a next level of what it means to be all in. And when you're so present and so in the moment, how that comes back. And you just kind of went to this place where you were trying it for a few years, but about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, you went to this place where you were like, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do this all the time. But what's cool about it is you're not very dramatic about it, right? You're more, when you make your choices, you make your decisions, you make them in your gut, you make them in your heart, and it doesn't really matter who sees them or who gets them. You get them. And that's where your ability to make your impact is really coming from, is it's coming from again, it's this kamikaze perspective of what instincts are and how to follow them and how to align yourself with what's important and what matters. Um, yeah. How's that? Does that make sense so far?
Yeah. When you had goosebumps, it gave me goosebumps.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, definitely can definitely resonate with pretty much every single thing you said there.
Awesome. So they're showing me a little bit about um, things are starting to change and they're going in again in another different direction. Um, hmm, do you want to talk about family?
Sure.
Okay. You have children?
No.
You have children. Maybe you don't have them physically yet, but they're around you. Um, I am seeing three with the potential for four. Yeah, they're very close, which is it's interesting because as exciting as that is, there's also um, a nervousness that's, am I ready? Am I ready for this? And that's as a result of your childhood and growing up. And, again, your 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 willingness to participate in life is so full on. And so you, unlike a lot of people who become parents, you have an awareness of the person that you want to be, and you have an awareness of how how you want to be, and that's the part that's intimidating is, am I going to be able to do it in the way that I want to, with the level of integrity, with the level of the word they keep using is trust. And so I'm going to backtrack a little bit now because that's really been your journey. So over the last 8 or 9 years, you they're showing me like you kind of came into your own, right? Like you settled, like they're showing me like you moved from one world into another, and you really started to understand the vibration and energy of trust. Um, so I've explored trust a little bit from the universal perspective, and it's the energy of transformation. We can't transform without trust. And you've gone, it's your mission. It's your mission. Like so far, I use those words very loosely because, of the impact that you're meant to be making and you're going to. But until this point, right, this has been a journey about understanding the truth behind trust. And it's unbelievable the things that you have learned as a result of that intention. You've learned mm, so much that everything is an illusion and that, you know, what you were, it's it's so interesting because they're showing me this one man in particular, and it's like you had this experience where you saw him in the way he presented himself to the world, and then you learned he was someone else. And it was like this aha moment of, oh, that's how this works. And you had that awareness sometime in your teens. They're showing me 14, 15, 16 in that zone. And you had this awareness of, oh, so this isn't real. And yet you didn't have the full awareness of how unreal the physical world is. However, it started to shape your awarenesses and it started to shape your perspectives. And it was like everything changed from there. And so over the past 8 or 9 years, it's been it's been a journey of trusting yourself rather than what people want you to see or what they tell you to see. And it can be from anyone, right? Yes, I mean, yes, we're in this world where we know the government's not telling us the things that is true, but it was more you're seeing it in the nuances of everyday life. You were starting to see that, you'd have a conversation with someone and their words would be broken in the sense of what they actually meant. Is this making sense?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So the way they're showing me is, you know, it's like I think they call them C notes. They're like the caves that are underneath the they're just all of a sudden it's like a hole in the ground and then all of a sudden you see underneath and there's these massive caves. That's kind of how you see people. You, you know, you recognize that what you see on the outside isn't real. It's not the real person. It's not what you see. Um it's not the fullness. But not only is it not the fullness, it's you're not getting that authentic human in front of you. You're getting a version of that person that they think they need to be. And, I feel like you've made it your mission to start to peel back those layers so that people can see themselves for who they are, and they can start to, it's like not needing to perform anymore because performing is exhausting. And, they're showing me you found your voice in helping reveal others to themselves, and to really peel back those layers, but by holding them in grace, in this, and what I mean by holding them in grace is you don't need them to be anyone other than they are, and that's it's a massive gift. It's a massive ability, especially in the world that we live in, right? That we're inundated with judgment culture. Um, anything and everything, is free game when it comes to judgment on every side. And you're not willing to participate in that, which is beautiful, right? But it creates a dynamic where I'm almost emotional in the sense of what you're giving these people. You're creating this space where they can be emotional. They can be emotional about who they are. They can explore who they are inside of this safe space that you've created for them. But it's an extension of the space that you've created for yourself. And I think that's what um does this make sense so far?
It does.
Okay. And
That's-
And that's the part that they're showing me that people need to understand is it came from you doing it for yourself first. And that came out of your gut. Like it's like I just know I need to do this. I know I need to do this for myself, but for other humans because if I'm going through this, there's
mm,
got to be others who are going through the same thing. And that's what they're showing me. You really started to step into about 9 years ago, but it was still behind the scenes, in the sense of the depth of your commitment. It was still behind the scenes. You were still tentative in how you're going to voice it, how you're going to word it. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, something shifted and you were like, okay, I'm all in. I'm all in. And when I say something shifted, you know, there was significant growth on your part, but you were
mm.
also seeing a magnificent growth in others. And that's where you feel it. It's like this fire inside of you. It's yeah, it's quite beautiful. So the way I'm seeing it is you working with father son, who, from my experience of exploring the universe and working with him, um, you know, he's all about understanding the right, he's balance and he understands all of that, but he understands how to light others up. It's this feeling,
Yeah. When you say father son, are you talking son? Son?
yep, yep,
Beautiful. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me because I, when the sun isn't around, and I mean, I'm not in the sun or around the sun, I have no desire for a lot of other things, for creation or anything.
that's interesting.
Um, I feel like that's why I left the UK because I wasn't in sun a lot. And then when I came into sun in Australia, everything changed for me. The growth came like tenfold and hasn't stopped since. And the trust piece that you're talking about is interesting because that's something that I've been on a journey on of uncovering that and understanding who am I and what is my authentic self. What is the parts of me without all the conditioning, so that I can then understand that and to share that back into the world in some format or another. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely a partner. And I mean, you can call him whatever you like.
Father
Yeah,
son sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is you already harness his power. You know that. You can feel it inside of you. Um, it's really interesting. I don't know if you consciously know or not, but when you when you start working, and to your point, like working is like inspiration. It doesn't matter anything that's flowing through you when you get excited and you're it's him. Like when you connect, it's like it fills you. So he is a primal force in the universe, right? Like primal force. Without him, we don't exist on a physical plane. That's how primal.
Mm,
Back to our roots of who humans were originally created to be. And you can feel it. That's your primal um, reason for being. It's why you're here now, and it's going deeper into uncovering all these truths. And, you're peeling back, you've been peeling back a lot of layers and you're continuing to, but there's a part now they're showing me it's insatiable. It's like, but it's also the surface stuff is not enough anymore. You're like, okay, that's great, but I want to go ten layers deeper than that. And the tricky part is finding others who can go there with you. That's the specific word is can, because you've been in this place where people say they want to go, and then you get there together and they're like, oh no, no. And then they doubt or they start to get uncomfortable and they have to bail. That's the word they're using. And so you've done so much on your own, but you're also tired of doing it by yourself, right? So Father Sun says they're coming. He is one of yes, your soul is you. But he is definitely, one of it's not like a guide. Like to me, when I hear the word guide, it's like someone who says, okay, Ryan, go do this, right? Or go do that. That's not it. You're partnering with him. So you work together, right? Like when you have a question and you ask the universe, the energy comes in from him, right? And your soul, the awareness of your soul comes in, but you partner with him. And this is where there's been a little bit of a struggle too over the last couple of years because as you've gone deeper, as you've shown up more, you have bigger questions. And now you have, which bring bigger frustrations at the same time, right? Because when we have bigger questions, we know there's answers for them. There has to be. But being able to have access to those answers and find them is easier said than done. That's the words they're saying, they're sharing right now. And you have, oh, okay. So, oh, this is funny. Okay. So, interestingly enough, Ryan, so for the last 15 years, 15 years, I've been doing this for almost 20, but for the last 15 years, I've been on a search for the world, for in the world, for someone who asks big questions. And they just said, Ryan's a big question asker. Like fundamental questions about existence itself, right? Because I can't get information if people don't ask the questions, right? I can ask a question, but then to go in and have conversations with the universal beings who are retrieving that information, it's really boring when I do it by myself. You know what I mean, right? There's only so much you can
Yeah.
do by yourself.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it is interesting. So, um, yeah, normally I would never say this, but that's what they're sharing. And so, um, that will also be a possibility for both of us should we decide to participate in that going forward. But they wanted me to share that. So there it is, it's out there. Um, but right now, you're in this place of just such massive growth, and with it is coming massive restlessness, right? It's this, and it's funny because it's not like, oh, I want it now. It's more of a what next? How can I go deeper than I've gone before? And that's the restlessness that you have in you. And that's why they're saying us working together, because we can trigger each other to go deeper, which is great. If you're into that stuff, and clearly we both are into that stuff. So, but that's where that restlessness is coming from. And it's interesting because there's different areas where you're seeing it in different areas of your life. But the core reason is you have to go deeper. You can't not now because it's boring when you don't. And when I say boring,
Hmm.
it's not challenging anymore. It doesn't, there's no thirst, there's no excitement. And
Mm.
you're now at the point where you're like, okay, I love, you love your life. You love what you're doing, but there's got to be more, right? And
Yeah.
because it was so exciting for so long. And that's what kept you going. And now you're like, okay, so there has to be something else exciting coming down the line because it's getting boring. And when I say boring, it's monotonous. It's similar stories, but different, a little bit of a different dynamic. But there's nothing deeper. There's nothing bigger in the sense of what you're uncovering. Does this make sense?
Yeah, more than you could, or you already understand that. But that is, yeah, I'm pretty speechless, really, if I'm honest, because I really feel that, like I feel that inside of me more than anything, because that was the only thing I wanted to ask that came to my mind today, because over the last few years, everything has shifted for me in the sense of I have gone deeper, but I feel like I've gone so deeper so quickly with so many different things. I'm moving through things very quickly. And the first part of my journey was really understanding the physical body, the biochemical, the understanding of the physical body and everything around it. And then after that, it went into the emotional realms and the nervous system and the somatics and the undercovering of my why I do what I do. And now I'm at this point where everything in my life and the life I've created, I'm so grateful for. I live in a beautiful home. I have a great, uh, I have a great life around me with everything around me. My social media has gone from strength to strength over the last 2, 3 years. But now I've had this point over the last 6 months, 7 months, where I'm just like, meh. I'm just meh. And I can't even put it into a word. It's MEH, meh.
Yeah.
I'm just meh. And and people don't understand because everything's still growing. Everything in my thing is still growing, but I'm not posting anymore because I'm not saying the stuff I'm posting isn't of interest and value to people. I'm just not bothered about it. Not because it's not interesting for people. I just feel like it's very here. And I feel like something inside of me, like you're sharing, it wants to be here at the bottom of the ocean.
Yep.
And I don't know, there's a part of me that's resisting going there because I know that when I share, when I want to go and share there, I have to go there as well. And um, yeah, it just, you answered my question in that. I don't know. I've just not done anything. I've just frozen in the sense of like, I just don't know. Like I can create a post and put it up, but it doesn't talk to me. It doesn't talk to me. It doesn't excite me. It's completely what you say. It's boredom.
Yep. And
And people
it has
listen. Yeah.
nothing to do with judgment of others and where they are. It's a
No.
recognition of where you are, and
Mm,
you're not there anymore. But the reason that those posts are still working is because others are still there. And
mm,
it's amazing, right? It's like, you know, it's like you're in a boat and your wake has so much impact. It just keeps going. It never stops, which is incredible. But you have to keep going. You stopped going because you were worried you were going to go too far ahead and they wouldn't be able to catch up.
hmm
But here's the thing. So the creator is here now. Okay. And he's the creator of our entire universe. And I just got goosebumps from head to toe. This is the fifth iteration of humanity that we're currently living. Every other time before this, when it went off the rails, he would cease and he would start again. Humanity would start again. Okay. The thing is, as souls, we would have full awareness of all that. Okay. So we know our whole history until this life, until not this life, but this when humanity went off the rails a couple 100,000 years ago. Time and space again is a little bit wonky and split. But the reason, okay, so this time what happened with humanity is external beings came in to manipulate. That's how we went to the depth of forgetting that we did. But the creator did not cease this experience because it self imploded. It's external manipulation. And the reason he won't cease it is because he believes in humanity. And he says, that's what you need to remember. So letting go of that discomfort of what are they going to think if I go this direction or this deep, but also understanding and recognizing that you're given, you don't you don't collect a following for no reason. You're given followers because they give a piece of themselves to you,
mm,
because you're worthy of carrying that piece of them. And you have carried them with grace, with love, compassion, and respect, and always with truth. And they trust you. And even if they don't get it yet, they trust that you're not leading them astray, that your intention is pure. So even if they don't understand it, in their heart, they love and they respect and they trust you. And that's why the creator wanted me to share that, because he believes in humanity and he wants you to believe in humans in the same way that he does. Because he doesn't guide anything. He doesn't shape it. He set this entire universe up and then said the only rule is free will. And you can go out and explore your own potential. And you're all going to have awareness of every other human and every other soul and everything in existence. So you have everything you need to succeed and go play. Let's go see
Mm.
what we can do. And it's remembering to embody that awareness so that you can go forth and explore your potential with that freedom, right? So as when you hold that awareness, they just showed this is why you came. This is why this is happening today, because you you need to know and need to remember and understand you're here because you're meant to explore the universe and you're meant to explore the things that are exciting and interesting to you because that's going to contribute to evolution. And it's allowing yourself to, it's like, it's almost like a get out of jail free card in the sense that you can choose any experience you want. You just have to choose it and then go. And the the people that have given you a piece of their soul and the people that continue to give you a piece of their soul, they're not giving it to you because, what you're saying looks pretty or it makes them feel good. It's because you get them. You understand them at a level that the rest of the world hasn't shown that they can handle. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's using that gift now with a new level of integrity, a new level of integrity that says, I'm going to go deeper. And I know that some of you are going to come right away. Some of you are going to wait a little bit. And there's going to be new people that want to go this deep. But it's recognition that you're ready. And you have to continue to recognize that because the stagnant energy that's created when you don't go deeper is destructive to you.
Hmm.
It's like it's eating you alive kind of thing, right? Like it's I keep seeing all kinds of ants, but on the inside, like
Hmm.
it doesn't seem like it's a big bite, right? These tiny little ants. But when there's so many of them and it's all the time and it's eating away at you, your creativity becomes blocked, yes, but your reason for living,
Mm.
life doesn't feel as vibrant, as full, as glorious as you know it's meant to because you felt it before. You
Hmm.
know what it
Hmm.
feels like to be, and the words they're using is at the top of your game, where most people see that as, it's something to strive for in the sense of, this big goal and then this big goal. But really, your awareness is it should be a way of life. And your goal is to achieve that state of being for like a sustained amount of time. Sustained is the way that they're sharing that. And that's the level of awareness that you're working towards, which means in order to get there, you're going to have to face some significant beliefs that block us from getting there, right? From to getting that level of being,
What
right?
do you
So
mean by that?
the only thing that blocks us from a fully conscious and awake state of being is our beliefs. So, right? It's the
Mm.
only thing that's in our way. So every
Mm.
single time, a lot of people say, oh, it's fear, it's this, it's that. All of those fears are our belief system. And we
Mm.
just, right? Like I look at fear as it's like a filing cabinet in my head, right? Which fear, or sorry, all my beliefs are like filing cabinet, right? And so which belief am I going to use today that's going to limit me? Oh, that one. That's fun. Okay, let's break that down. Let's, toss that one right out. But you're you're ready to let all of them go and reach that supreme state of being where you're in that sustained state of heightened consciousness all the time, but drama free, right? And that's the whole point is that's the whole point, really. That's how they're saying it. It's that's it. That's the reason for being. And it's
Mhm.
being, there's this wanting to find this joy. Yeah.
Mhm.
How you feeling?
Yeah, heavy but light and everything else in between. And that's how I'm feeling. Thank you so much, Michelle. That all truly resonates with me. I think the thing that is coming through for me more than anything is it's not that I'm not sharing what I feel like I'm holding back. It's that I don't know what it is that I'm meant to be sharing. But in saying that, there is something inside me bubbling that feels like it wants to, but I don't know what that is. Does that make sense?
100%.
Because it's sitting here, it's there, and I've been talking about it, and I've been sharing about it. I've been speaking to people, my loved ones about it. What is this thing? But it's not like it's here and I'm going, I'm not scared. I'm scared to share it because I don't know if people are going to resonate with it or not. I don't, it's not that. It's, I don't know what the depth is that I'm wanting to be shared. And I don't know. So if I don't know what it is that wants to be shared, I don't know how to share it. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And
Yeah.
at the same time, that's out of your element right now because for years you've known how to share things.
Mm,
You've just instinctively been like, I got it. This is how I need to say it. This is what I need to share. This is the truth. And that's that's the point right now is
mm,
you have to learn how to communicate from a conscious perspective, fully conscious, rather than how can I take this conscious awareness, bring it down into the physical, make it into something that like a sound bite, if you will, that people will
mm,
understand so that it can raise their vibration. So you were, it's like you were hacking universal code, so to speak. That's what you've been doing. And now they're saying, well, you can't do that anymore because it's not working for the
mm.
level that you're going to. So this level, you have to share universal code as it is. And you're like, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
It's not
I
going to
know it.
translate. It's not
Yeah.
going to make any sense. And they're
Mm,
like, but you just have to share it because we're done. Like, so I know a lot of people talk about different dates and that kind of thing. So the 8/8/24 was a massive shift. We literally, as humans, we went from breaking down the old foundation, and on 8/8/24, whatever it is, we shifted into building our new foundation. Like massive, massive. And so you can't do it that way anymore. It won't work because we've torn it down. So what you were doing was helping people integrate and prepare for the new foundation. Now the new foundation is here and we're building it. And that's why so many people are struggling with their purpose and their messaging, so to speak, but it's their communication, right? Everything is changed, right? We're also in the year of purity. Purity is universal purity is all about communication, how we communicate who we are with the world. That's the foundation, right? And so, you've you've hit both of them and you're in this incredible place of now you have to become the vibration of those universal codes, which is different than let me break them down for you, right?
mm,
Before it was always, here's the information and I'm going to break it down for you so it makes sense. Now it's I'm becoming it, and you have the opportunity to become it too. This is how it works, which is different than breaking it down and trying to fit it into their awareness. Now you're saying, come on, let's go to the universal level, and I'm going to share that information with you. And then I'm going to teach you how to rise to it rather than bring it down to you.
Mm. Okay.
It's very different.
Yeah. And if
It,
I can have a question to throw in there
you
to
can.
the universe, speak to Sun, whoever you need to chat to, if they can give me some like little bits of guidance on how to bring these codes into fruition, then I would be very grateful for that because and I'm sort of getting that I'm meant to figure this out on my own. Um
Yeah.
but
Well,
but I don't feel no, I'm not gonna say I can't, but I really am struggling with sitting in this nothingness at the moment.
yep. Okay.
Not in a mental health way. It's
No, I know what you mean.
in an energy way. It's a ugh
Yep.
way. Yeah.
And yeah. And when you've been the other way for so long and then this comes in, it's like, ah.
Mm,
Um, but here's the thing. So the codes are not like a physical thing, right? Like they're not even like a specific thing. This is important to understand. It's not like you're going to bring through universal codes that are specific in the
mm,
sense of I'm going to tell you these 12 or 24 or 50 codes. Like that's not it's understanding well, and yet it kind of is because the entire universe is encoded, okay? But when you understand how to read it, it's not encoded at all.
mm,
Okay. That's what you're breaking down. So, whereas before it was human behaviors,
mm,
um, very human based perspectives, beliefs, behaviors, now you're going into universal existence, right? And so you're in this place where it's like you're breaking down the aspects of existence itself. So, you've done it on the human side, right? But you can't do it the same way when it comes to the universe. It's less research, less it's less of a mental approach. You can't use a
mm,
mental approach at all, um,
mm,
except to ask to pontificate the question, so to speak. It's like that's as far as you can go when it comes to universal, and then the rest of the information just comes through you. And what they're saying is it's been trying to come through for months now, but it's not it's not coming the way you used to get your information. So you're in this place of, okay, there's no inspiration. It's not there. It
mm,
is there. But remember that the universe speaks in a different way
mhm,
for universal awareness. It speaks much more simply.
mm,
There's no complication, right? So the secrets of existence are they're they're showing me they're in the palm of your hand, and it will literally be an unfolding of your own perspectives. They're going to grow as you allow them to, right? So it's almost like if you sit, you have a thought about, oh, well, where does that come from? Or how does that exist? And then you just allow the universe to show you. So as you go through the next 24, 48 hours, it's, you're going to have different experiences that come in, but it's being able to feel that energy inside of the experiences and then allow the energy to take you further into the awareness itself, because that's how you're going to extract the information. It's a little bit different than how you've been doing it. They keep showing me meditation. So, have you used meditation quite a bit to extract information?
A little bit. So I've been doing it a little bit more. That was my next question. So I feel like I don't have to ask questions.
90, that's usually how it works. And I get to the
Yeah,
end and I'm like, would you have any questions? And they go down their
yeah.
list and they're like, no.
My thing was I was asking, is there things that I could be doing that could help me to bring some of this stuff into me
Yep.
more?
No planning.
Mm,
You need to be outside and you need to be walking in movement. You cannot sit still.
my God.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
so true.
You
Yeah.
cannot, because all that happens when you sit still is your brain gets too active and
Mm,
you drive yourself crazy because it's like if I see you, I just, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're sitting somewhere, you're going to start to have conversations with the birds and the bugs and the flowers because your stillness is not your, it's not your thing. And that's great because it's not your thing and it's not needing it to be your thing because when you just allow who you are to flow, then it flows so much more beautifully and the information and the awareness comes. So
mm,
walking is really good. And they're showing me as barefoot as much as possible. So
mhm,
for long periods, but barefoot. And it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some barefoot places that are more preferable than others, but your feet need to be touching the ground. Your
mhm, mhm,
connection um, with dirt, with soil, with sand,
mm,
with plants. Yes, plants are great, but it's the foundation of the dirt itself. This is what they're showing me, right? Like you feel that connection, and then everything else comes from that. Everything.
yeah.
It's like an electric shock almost. And so when you don't have your feet on the ground, right? Like when it's through shoes or it has to go through concrete, it's a different, you're not grounded. You're
Mm,
not, and I know people talk about grounding all the time, but when I mean, what I'm talking about is there's not a calm and peace inside of you,
mhm, mhm,
right? And it's that connection that drives uh, your calm. It drives and when you're in that state of calm, that's when the joy comes. That's when the happiness comes. That's when the inspiration comes, right? And so it's not needing anything to happen faster. It's about allowing yourself to stop planning, stop pushing, stop needing it to work, right?
mm,
Because you got to this place where you're like, okay, I got to keep going and I got to use the momentum that's here.
mhm.
And again, the creator's back and he's just, that's not your roots, right? It's not about momentum. Um, it's not about using the things that are there. It's about feeling the vibration that is foundational, right? It's feeling the
Mm,
foundation of your soul and it's allowing that awareness just to talk to you. And it can't talk to you when you're busy, when you're thinking. When you're thinking, you're not feeling and you're not getting that awareness, right? You know that. The best things you've learned, the best things, the awarenesses that you've had is when your brain wasn't thinking, it just came in.
mhm,
It just
mhm,
came.
mhm.
That's how
Yeah,
you are where you are,
yeah.
right?
Everything that I've ever had has come through. When you
Yeah.
said to me that, Michelle, I'll be honest here, of course, because what's the point of this otherwise?
Yeah.
I had no expectations of what this was going to be like today because I just say yes to things when I feel a pull to them. And I get lots of messages and emails of different things. And I just felt, yes, I just went, I didn't even read the whole email that I got sent through from your well, someone that works on your team? And I just said yes. And then I've spoken to people before, but never to this detail of speaking so directly to me, you know? It's there's so many things I want to say. And one thing is you're so right with the movement because you said meditation, but then you moved from that. And meditation is great for me and it's a great stilling for me. But I was the other day, I was like, I just don't feel motivated for everything. I took my shoes off and I walked around the lake. And then I had no headphones, I had no music, I had no nothing, just no phone, left that and just went for a walk for a couple of like an hour or so around this big, beautiful lake with just nature and birds and bees and everything. And everything just dropped in, just douche, 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 like that for me. And I had to, and I was like for days writing things down, trying to figure what's going on, when am I going to post, what am I going to do with this? And then I was like, I went for the walk and then I had like a whole list of things ready to go. Like this is ready. Like I'm got this done. And then the next step thing was, um, when you said the creator said to me, I don't need to um, go and find this, and I don't need to use the momentum. That resonates with me because I feel pressured by society. No, I feel pressured by myself to go with the momentum. Go with it strong, or you're gonna lose it. Da, 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 da. But it don't feel right to force it, and I'm not gonna force it for no reason. Because there is something to me that gives me goosebumps that is like there's something more to this and I need to have that because otherwise everything else is yeah,
It's pointless.
yeah, it's pointless. It's literally pointless to me.
Yeah.
I don't care about having lots of millions of followers if it doesn't resonate with my being. I could grow a following to 1 million tomorrow, maybe not tomorrow, but to February or March next year if I kept doing the same thing I was doing, but it doesn't resonate with me at all. I don't want to have 1 million followers for no reason. I would love to have 1 million people that followed me because they resonated with the message I was sharing in some way. That makes more sense to me. Like,
Yep.
yeah, thank you for
It's a
letting me
level
share.
of honor, right? You're no longer interested in participating without honor. Is really not that you were before. It's that the more we learn, our level of integrity and how we interact in the universe increases.
Mm,
And the struggle right now is recognizing that you've come to this new level of awareness of self, who you want to be in the world, how you want to be in the world. And the struggle is, how can I take all of these people who I love and care about and respect? How can I take them with me? And
mm,
that's where the creator was saying, you can't take them all, but you can invite them on the journey, invite them
mm,
to come. And the right ones will come now, new ones will come, and some will will move on because they're not ready yet, but they will remember what you offered and the door that you opened. And when they are ready, they'll come back.
mm. I feel that. Mm,
Yeah. But you're going to a place where, humans haven't gone before, right? This is all new territory. Humanity has never, ever had to resurrect itself. And in order to resurrect itself, we need leaders who are willing to go deeper into truth and into the original the original aspects of not only who humans were created to be, but how does that mix with where we are currently in this evolution and bring that truth out so that we can see where we're going, and you're one of those leaders because you understand you you already understood, like you understood there was an issue in the first place, and you started helping point out the issue and then the issues inside of us. But you did it in a way that was relatable. That's why people followed. But it's also recognizing that that was part of your journey, was to learn how to communicate the truths that were being revealed inside of you, right? It's not like, you were um wasn't like you were looking for them. And that's the
Mm.
funny thing is, that's why also there's that awkwardness right now because you weren't looking for them. They just kept showing up. And all of a sudden now you're like, okay, I need more to show up, but
Hmm.
it's showing up in a different way,
Mm.
right? It's no longer personal human traits. It's now this universal, it's these. So existence itself was created. I mean, it's so finite and so interwoven, and everything impacts everything else. But like we, as souls, we know all of this and we understand how it all works, but we've just forgotten. So that information needs to be resurrected. It needs, you know, fearless leaders who can go in and say, this is how this works, right? Because, I mean, we look at the world we live in and we use vehicles to get around, right? That's not how we were created. We weren't
Mm.
created to live in um we were created to live sustainably with the universe, the entire universe. And that's what needs to be resurrected. And you're one of those leaders, and the way they're showing me is, you know, a lot of it's going to have to do with technology. You're which is probably a little bit shocking, but technology, and what I mean by technology, I don't mean here's the next computer program and it's revolutionary. That's not technology. That is technology is it's a reprogramming in the brain of how we see existence itself. Okay. And if you know, the way the way they're showing me is it's really cool. I haven't seen this way before, so this is really cool. Now I'm getting to explore a little bit. So it's even exploring the universe is my favorite happy place in the world. So what they're showing me is, you have a very special knack um, for really just understanding basic concepts when it comes to universal existence. Okay, period. And up until now, you've used them in a way specifically applied to human behaviors and human aspects of existence. So, really understanding that we're so much more. Okay. This is like the Cole's Notes short version of, your whole spiritual journey. So I'm not meaning to overlook anything, but they want to explain it in that way so that as you're going forward, you start to understand that there's a reason for that. There's a reason you see things the way you do. It's because of your hyper awareness of the universal structure of existence itself. Okay. So the s- hmm, the cellular structures that are within human cells are also the same structures that are within all organisms that exist within the universe itself. Big, small, it doesn't matter. It's just a multiplication of those cells dependent on the size and structure of the actual physical existence. So bear with me because I'm like, I don't normally do this in such a short, woo, let's just, normally I take the time and I go into all the little details. So, um, I'm I'm like a kid in a candy store at the moment, so please forgive me my excitement. But what they're showing me is, that's that's the information that you're going to start to pull out, that you're going to start to explain to people is this exists this way because this is how it impacts the entire universe at large. So, when like ecosystems, okay? When one thing happens and it impacts the entire ecosystem, okay?
Hmm.
You're going to do that, but for the entire universe. Just small little job, Ryan.
Mm,
Trying-
mm,
But you couldn't do anything smaller than that. It would drive you crazy because it's not stimulating enough. It's not exciting enough for you to go in and start to explore it, right?
mm,
So that's really, um, and it's not about making a big deal out of it, especially right now. It's starting with, again, when you get outside and you're walking in bare feet, what catches your attention?
mm,
Don't put the pieces together. Take notes, right? Like I always say to people, it's like I'm carrying energetically a basket on my shoulder, right? And all the thoughts that I have as I'm walking, I just put them in there because they're messages. They're messages from the universe. They're messages from my soul, from universal beings. And I just put them in because if I've had them, there's a reason I've had them. That's what they
mm,
want you to do. And then there'll be a moment where all the pieces come and they make sense,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
you know how to do that part because you've been doing it, but it's allowing yourself to expand into concepts beyond what you're comfortable with and what you've seen and know so far. That's where you're going.
Fun,
It, right? It doesn't get any better than
fun,
this,
fun.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think my analytical brain wants to go, whoa, what can I study for this? But I realize there's nothing that I can study for this. I've just got to do it
Yeah,
and feel it.
yeah. And
Yeah, wow.
just let it flow, right? Like you get to have fun
Mm,
doing the things you love doing on a whole new level. So that's where the challenge is going to be. And you couldn't you'd be bored without a challenge, right?
mm,
That's it. That's why you've been bored is because the challenge wasn't great enough. And now this challenge will get you through your life in the sense of, you're not going to need another challenge. That being said, that's because everything you explore is going to lead to something different and more
mm,
and learning more, right? There's no
mm.
end to it now. And that's the whole point. That's the point of being human.
Wow, marvelous. Am I allowed to ask one question? How long do we have?
There is no time limit until
Okay,
I
well,
until I'm like, whoo, my voice gives out. There we go.
yeah, okay, all right. Well, I've got, it's not necessarily, maybe it's a question. I don't know. Um, One of the things that come through for me is because we hear a lot about matrices and simulations, and my knowing is soul, and I'm not my physical body. Detaching from that is sometimes difficult, but there is a part of me that when people are talking about simulation and being in a matrix and being in this augmented reality that's been created, parts of me believe that. And then there is another part of me that believes that we are soul in a dreamlike state, exploring. And then the other part of me believes that it's both of those. And we've just got it mixed up. The science world has taken the matrix and then the dreamlike state as it's they're all right. They're both right. That's what comes through to me. But I'd love to ask what comes through to you with that.
That is an see, they were not kidding when they said you are a good question asker. Okay, thank you. See, awesome questions. Now we get to explore and have fun. So Okay, so the first stream, evangelics, are going to come in and answer this because they're the ones who created matter itself.
Mm.
Um, we're going to start there, and then the second stream are going to come in because they've created experience. So it's a two, it's a two-part question, two-part answer. They're saying it's going to be three or four-part answer. Usually that's so. Um, so the first angelics, it's it's recognition that hmm, human souls were created as a result of existence itself needing, we needed a force that could create change and movement that would impact the universe itself. Oh, that's so cool. Because before human souls were created, so human souls didn't start as being physical beings, right? They were created and they're universal beings first. And as a result, yeah, okay, that's fascinating. So as a result of human souls in creation, then what happened was there was an awareness that energy could be harnessed in a different way. Before human souls, there was no intention to harness energy. And what they mean by harnessing is utilizing it and then directing it in a very specific purpose. So there is intention. That's how the universe was created. So the secret of creation is intention becomes energy, becomes experience. So that was there, but it's a specific purpose. And that's really what the creator, and he's even sharing, he says, that was his gift um, to human existence. And it's important to understand that because humans then needed to be gifted with the power and understanding. Crap. This is literally answering all the questions that I've had over the last, I don't know, 10, 11 years, I want to say. It's good. Great question. Thank you. So, what happened is we needed to have awareness of the impact, right? Because if you give someone the power to literally move mountains, they have to know how to use it and they have to understand the impact that it's going to make. And that's what's been lost the most. And that's where the biggest significant loss was, is that we don't understand that just by choosing to put something in our mouth, we're impacting the entire world because, you know, it's not just the food that you're putting in your mouth, it's where you bought it and who you're supporting with your money. And then it's, that whoever you paid your money to is paying money to someone else, who's paying money to someone else, who's impacting the foundation of the dirt. We'll go back to the dirt and your connection with the dirt. So if that dirt is poisoned at one stage, it's still poisoning, right? Do you see what I mean? Like that, it's that connection. And so that's what humanity had to have because of our power to literally direct energy. And so what what happened, what was taken away was our awareness of our ability to direct energy. And as we heal and as we restore ourselves, what's happening is there's a lot of disjointed experiences as a result, because some people will drive energy in this way, but they don't understand it, and They don't understand the implications of their actions. And so what's happening is some things are working, some things are not, and some things have catastrophic impact in a negative way, and some is in a positive way. Excuse me. Sorry. So ultimately, where humanity is currently is we're in a hybrid situation of we're remembering who we are, but we haven't come to this place of understanding this massive aspect of existence itself. And until we do, our awareness can't merge. So what happens as a result is we create pockets of awareness and understanding. There is there's no such thing on a universal level as time and space. There's no linear time. And so everything we need to know has already it's already in existence. And yet everything we haven't yet created happens as a result of our awareness. And what he's saying is both is true as far as your question goes, is both is true, and yet one of them hasn't come into existence yet. I feel like we need like 20 years of exploring this one question just to get all the information. Like that's how, like I am sweating. I'm like, there's so much energy. It is intense and it is insane and it is awesome. But it's recognition that humans are not yet ready for the full awareness of themselves,
Mm,
mostly because we would create more bad than good at
mm,
this point.
mhm,
We don't understand how powerful we are, and we can't restore all of that power without understanding the bigger picture, right? And the
mm,
the
mm,
implications of our actions. That was paramount to our original creation and our original essence and our original awareness. We knew everything about human existence. And so we're in this place where we're resurrecting the truth of human existence. But it's like shuffling forward, and then you have to fill in all the spaces because even with shuffling, where it doesn't look like you're moving very fast ahead, there's so much awareness that needs to be filled into all the little gaps.
mm,
And so they're saying to answer your question, it's really about existence itself. And yet it's also what we're creating in the moment. That's how they're saying it. That's the short form of it. They gave you a little bit of a longer background first,
mm,
but it's one of those where yeah, it, mm, gosh, it's so cool just as I'm feeling into it because it's like so many times they'll say things, with cute little sayings or what have you, things that we've heard forever. And when you get to this level of exploration, they can't do that because it's all new, it's fresh, it's new and fresh to us, right? Who've been living in this hidden world where truth is hidden. Um, yeah, but he's saying, yeah, it's really cool. It's like not even worrying about the answer to that question because what you're going to find along the way is that it's going to answer that question and then so much more. But And at the same time, it's a question that's not even really important, is what they're saying,
Mm,
because what's most important is your connection to yourself and the universe
mhm,
and
mhm,
your relationship with who you are. And I know you know that, but this is like the way that they're talking about this and they're speaking is it's your relationship with who you were created to be as a universal being, right?
mm,
So it's not, who you were created to be as Ryan in this life. Like that exploration is done now. You've had that, you got that under your belt. Now it's time to move on. Now you're exploring Ryan in relation to existence itself, which
mm.
is fundamentally different.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't even know yeah. I'm like, I don't even know if I answered your question because I don't even remember what it was because my brain is off. It has to go off to go in that
Yeah,
deeply.
no,
So
it has. It has. Well, I don't think it's as simple as just an answer for what I was asking, you know. I understand that. I just wanted to chuck it out there, see what something that's been coming to me over the last few days.
that's awesome. It was a good one.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Michelle.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I hope you'll, yeah, let us know. And do you have any other questions before we go, or are you feeling
No, I
good?
mean, no, no, all good.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, for joining
Yeah.
us, and yeah, let us know how you're doing.
Thank you
It's
so, so much.
been
Yeah, I
an
can't wait.
yeah. No kidding. I can't wait to see what you do. I didn't even know you before today. So now I'm so
Yeah,
curious and so excited. So it's brilliant. So thank
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's been an honor and very, very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this conversation, learned something, or received any benefit that you believe will improve your life, subscribe to our channel so I can serve you better by attracting unique guests and starting even bigger conversations. If you know you're meant to change the world, head on over to michellevickers.com, where innovators and thought leaders go for guidance, wisdom, inside information, and support they can trust. Until next time, stay curious.